content is nothing but science. It's human psychology. And the best creators will tell you this. There's certain frequencies that flow within the way you speak, the way you position lights, the way you frame things. Every detail matters. I kept waiting for permission and looking for someone else to validate my self-worth, validate that I can do the creative projects that I wanted, and that someone was gonna give me the big break. Some opportunity, some brand, someone was gonna be that, knight in shining armor for me. But God in that moment said, no, just stop waiting and just go do it for yourself. Take that high quality energy you would wanna do for other brands, do it for yourself. I had to kill off that version of myself that doesn't serve me anymore. Some people only stick to one format of content and stick with that their entire life and are afraid to evolve.
A lot of creators, I think, are too stubborn to admit that sometimes, the trade-off of chaos versus stability is not worth it or not sustainable.
It's so volatile, and I'm realizing I've built my entire life off chaos.
What did you think you were signing up for when you wanted to be a creator in the first place?
I signed up for this thinking if I don't make content, I will literally not amount to anything, because I will probably off myself because of what else am I meant to do. People are like, oh, we're in the worst areas. I was born in the wrong generation. I'm like, nah, you were born in the right generation.
Facts. Sooraj Saxena is a filmmaker, creative entrepreneur, and one of the early architects of high production short form storytelling. From helping raise millions through startup brand films at 18 to building a six-figure creative business off his phone during COVID, his journey is a masterclass in betting on yourself. In this episode, we talk confidence, creativity, spirituality, building an audience from scratch, and what really happens when you stop waiting for permission. This is Ourselves with Sooraj Saxena.
Do you know, for the longest time, one of my biggest demographics was from Tehran?
No.
Iran, yeah.
Really?
For 2 years, yeah. On IG Reels, yeah.
Iranians?
Because most people I run into, they're like, you're Persian? Are you Persian? Are you Persian? Are you Persian? All the time, in the Bay, everywhere.
Oh, really?
Persian girls are my weakness. But yeah, dude, a lot of people oh yeah, they saw me on their FYP. They're like, oh, this guy's Iranian. This guy's Iranian. He's half Iranian, half Indian.
Oh.
I'm just like, no, but
swag.
Wild, bro. Yeah.
That's dope, man. Well, dude, yeah, I'd just like to jump into it, man. You want to start with guiding us through your prayer?
Yeah.
All right.
It'll be a little mental prayer, but Jai Beta Baba, Jai Ma Kali, Jai Matangi. Let this all be an offering to you, all of humanity. Channel your wisdom, your art, your creativity through me, through Irad, through humanity. Let me be a vessel for your wisdom and your grace. Jai Ma, Jai Ma. Okay.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, of course.
Dude, I love your energy.
You know what? I feel like real recognizes real. It's cliche as hell, but I feel the same way about you, dude.
Thank you, bro.
Of course.
Dude, thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me, making LA feel so welcoming. I haven't been here in 3 years, so I am grateful for you.
Grateful for you, man. I'm grateful that we got to connect. And
absolutely.
I actually, I don't know, I didn't tell you this, but I discovered your content several years ago, probably 2021. It was you pouring the chai, and it was a song, Trapping in Atlanta. Bought 3, 4, 5 phantoms. Transition, boom. Yeah. And the clip I really loved, you had long hair back then.
Yes.
And it was like a red shirt or something.
Mm-hmm.
I need to find that clip.
That's so crazy. That's a throwback, man.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know about that.
Really?
Yeah. Well, especially nowadays, people they don't know that lore.
Dude, and I remember I saw multiple versions. I was like, oh wait, is this another one? But it was the same style. And again, the chai. Different outfit, different hair, and then you buzzed your hair, and then you did.
I did 300 of those, 500 of those, and never stopped.
It was so fire. I was like, I fuck with this editing, dude. The editing and and it was very seamless. You were in the same exact position, and even the way you held the chai, was even the mid pour. Somehow you matched the exact angle of your hand and the stream of the pouring of the chai tea, and it was just perfect match cut. I was like, that's good filmmaking.
I appreciate that, man. It's how can we take something that you'd maybe see on a commercial, but you do it for short form? I will humbly say I feel like I mastered that at that era.
You did, bro.
Yeah, so I appreciate that. And it's crazy that I was able to reach you, dude.
Yeah, you reached me early. That's why when you reached out to me, I was like, oh, I know this dude. And I was following you already. I was
I saw I saw you view one of my stories or like my story, and I was like, Arad, I know that name, dude.
Really?
And I looked at your page and I was like, no way. And because you've been in the game for a long time
Yeah,
as
I've
a
been in this
director.
for a minute.
And I used to like look up to all of your work.
What?
Yeah,
Don't
dude.
lie to me, bro. You're
I,
just
I swear.
liar.
Swear.
That's crazy.
That's because for me it was always very difficult to put name to face. So I was like, I never actually saw your face.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just saw your credit a lot, and I was like, oh wow. It was incredible because I always did want to be a director.
Yeah.
So like seeing you being able to film for some of the greatest artists and be able to just do creative work in a space that is foreign to me in the Bay Area, I was like, and being someone who's a person of color too, when I found out you're Iranian, I was like, wow,
Yeah, dude.
put it on for us brown people, bro.
Bro, we got to, man. Right now I feel like brown people are having like the best PR ever.
Absolutely. Like, absolutely. It's like we were slept on for a while, but people were like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
These guys are actually it.
Yeah. Dude.
And every vertical of like, society, to be honest. Everything from tech, life science, creative, everything, dude. It's beautiful, dude.
Finally, bro.
And it's great. We are the representation we've always were seeking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We got to pave the way, man.
That's it.
Heck yeah, dude.
Because there's people looking up to us.
Yeah. Well, on that note, bro,
Please.
you've always wanted to be a filmmaker, like you said, and you are a filmmaker.
Mm.
But like, is that something you just wanted to do since you were a kid?
Yeah. Good question, man. There's three labels that I always said without fail. I want to be a singer, dancer, actor. That's all I ever said. So from 2 years old to like 18, I was a dancer. I did like traditional Bollywood, lyrical hip hop, American hip hop, all of these various forms of, folk, Bhangra, Ras, like all these different Indian forms of choreography. And that was my first expression. Because I looked up to, growing up, Indian Bollywood movies.
The best.
And I loved the cinematography and the way they would dance on screen. You didn't get that in American movies at all.
No.
And it was beautiful. I always loved the music that, was portrayed, very soulful. And it's honestly because of my mother. She's the one who pushed me to be a dancer. She put me in classes, even the times we were struggling. She always found a way to get me through dance class and be able to do that very consistently. I was in every talent show from kindergarten to 12th grade being a dancer. So I was always, in a weird way, born to be a star. I was always front stage. I always had this confidence built in me because my mom pushed that on me. So I was lucky and privileged enough to have a supportive mother who allowed my creative expression to flow from a very young age. So it became part of my DNA, part of my programming, which was quite the blessing. A lot of people don't get that. A lot of people have repressed,
of course,
creative expressions.
And there's pushback, right? It's not encouraged from the families.
Especially in like South Asian, East Asian families. They're like, you need to study, doctor, engineer. Like that's,
Yeah.
It's not usually, especially males, you don't see it quite often. But yeah, so I was a dancer for a long time. And then oddly enough, I was actually a rapper from age 11 to about 19.
What?
Yeah, dude, I had like 300 like songs.
What? Can I hear some later?
It's crazy. I deleted my entire persona off the internet.
What?
It's wild, bro. And it's crazy because I used to sell CDs in school, like burn CDs, put them on SoundCloud.
What an era.
And I was like trapping CDs like crazy in middle school, high school. Yeah, dude, it was wild. And at this point in my life, like 12, 13, I like was influenced very heavily by like my brother's older friends and just media at that time.
Your brother's older than you?
5 years older. Yeah.
Okay.
So I always wanted to be like him, his friends, and the artists that I used to listen to or that they used to listen to, I always wanted to be like them. Wiz, Mac, and I was like,
what an era,
bro. That and then G-Eazy, like those three were like, I want to be like them. I want to rap like them. Like that's who I want to personify as.
So dope.
And that's what I really grew up on, like truly like new school like music. I never was into like old school like hip hop or anything, but that was my way of I think expressing myself through music. And I became pretty large in my like town, and it was huge. I used to have a ton of music videos made for me. A lot of those old buddies of mine, they actually moved to Los Angeles, and I fell in love with the way that they were so talented and able to make me look on camera.
Hmm.
And when I saw their editing style, their color grading, the way they would compose shots and express my story essentially in a very creative way, or take the vision that I and ideas that I had in my head and then be able to portray that out onto a screen, I fell in love with just the idea of filmmaking.
Hmm.
So much so, I was
Love it.
also going through a time where I was transitioning from high school to college, and I was getting really insecure about my music because I felt like I wasn't good enough. And I was like, okay, I want to probably just quit this. And I ended up around that time, this is where kind of like the transition happened. My father at the time was starting a med device company. He had a startup, and the team at the time were looking to raise their Series A round.
Mhm.
And the head of biz dev at the time needed marketing videos, investor videos to express the problem of his startup, problem that they were addressing, what their solution, what their product was. And they didn't have an easy way to convey that. And so my senior year in high school, I'm taking like video classes. And again, I'm kind of like learning vicariously through my director, DP buddies, who were still in Livermore at the time. And I had some knowledge of like, video and like editing, but wasn't, obviously like it wasn't like, oh my God, I want to do this my entire life. It was just something I was kind of picking up and I admired from afar. But then the head of biz dev asked me at the time, "Hey Sanjeev, my dad, can you ask your son if he knows how to make these investor videos for us?" He's like, "Okay, I mean, he might know." So my father asked me, "Hey, the head of biz dev wants to have a meeting with you.
Hmm.
Can you talk to him?"
Hmm.
My dad always like wanted to make sure that he never talked to me because it was just like conflict of interest in like a startup, right? So anyway, I was talking to the head of biz dev and he said, "Suraj, we need these marketing videos. Here's like basically the entire brief. Could you do this for us?" I'm cheap labor at the time, so I was like, of course it made
You're in
sense.
high school, right?
I'm in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like, sure, I can just try. So I made like a series of investor catered marketing videos
Hmm.
in my high school like video room.
Hmm.
And I was able to like source a bunch of clips, take up, record a voiceover of some of the employees that were, explaining this problem. And what my father was startup at the time was looking to address was the breast cancer uh, lack of breast cancer diagnostics in third world countries like India, China, Africa, and how a lot of these women at the time did not have access to proper, preventative care or
Hmm.
diagnostic.
Mm-hmm.
It's expensive. A lot of them don't have access to mammography and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And the solution that he was developing at the time was, a low cost portable device that you can bring into a lot of these villages and,
Hmm.
third world countries and be able to diagnose through blood screening.
Hmm.
And at that time, when they asked, I was able to understand what they were doing. So I was 18, party kid, looking to explain this kind of like pretty dense topic for me at the time. And I was able to successfully do it and put it into a video, a couple videos. And then they would send these to quite literally hundreds of investors.
Hmm.
And because of those videos, it helped them raise $21 million
Jeez,
in their
dude.
Series A round. And a
Amazing.
lot of their investors were saying, "Thank you for sending that video. It helped us take this really complex idea and problem that we're not aware of and made it simplified enough in a way where we're able to understand and want to, you know, look at another pitch deck and do our due diligence more,
Right. It makes it digestible, basically.
digestible."
Yeah.
And I was like, I found that there was the power of telling a story of a vulnerable population, and you're able to then use this as a communication tool, and it can drive investment. And I was like, wow, that's the power of video. That's like the first time I truly realized. And the head of biz dev, like when they raised the round, like, Sooraj, I don't think you understand like how much those videos and investors were telling us that video helped. And I was like, I mean, I still didn't really get it.
Yeah.
But he said, Sooraj, you actually have a gift and you don't even know it.
Hmm.
And he was actually like my first like mentor at the time. He said, you have a gift here, you just haven't tapped into it and you don't see it, but storytelling in this medium is going to be the new wave over the next like 20 years.
Damn.
And I was like, he's like, you know, a lot of people don't know how to do video. A lot of these guys, you know, especially in this space, the med device, healthcare, life science, pharma space, like in the Bay Area,
Mhm.
there's not filmmakers saying, I want to go film for those industries.
Right.
All filmmakers want to go film for Reebok, Coca-Cola, Converse, XYZ, right? So then I was in college at the time and I gave up rapping, but I was kind of contracted by my father's startup at the time and I had a camera in hand, Canon 7D, and I would take
Classic.
that classic,
Dude.
and then I would take that to just go play around. I just wanted to learn the camera. So then I'd go film like pop-up shops, art shows, like homies like throwing events, and I just make recap videos. And I just started getting familiar with the camera. And I was like, holy shit, this thing fell in my lap at like 18, 19 years old. And I fell in love with it. I was like, oh, this is sick. I just like making really pretty images.
Mhm.
That was the driving factor. I was like, oh my God, like I feel like I have this eye for like eye candy at that time. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I know I like colors. I like certain music videos. I want to take that same energy and put it into all these types of things that I'm doing. And then from there, we'd go shoot music festivals and like shows and like SF, and we'd take our cameras. Sometimes we didn't even have like media passes. We would like, you know, wear all black, backpack, just make some laminates, sneak through just to up our portfolio, bro. We would do that shit.
Dude,
Anything.
It's insane how you did. I have the same exact story. I swear to God. Did you ever get caught for it?
Never once.
Bro, I got caught.
Oh my, I want to know.
And then I went back the next day and I did it again.
Wild, bro. Because at that time, it's like, you got to do what you got to do to build a portfolio.
It was different too, because now they have like the fancy wristbands.
Yeah, it's like then they're like checking that. But back then, it's like you can just take, you know, the tour, you know, the tour, whatever it's called, poster or whatever, and then make a small laminate, put media on it. And like these security guards, a lot of them didn't give a fuck. I mean, they're not like, oh, you just wave it.
You just wave it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they don't expect people to just, you know.
It's kind of scary how much of a security threat that could have been.
Yeah. Two guys wearing all black backpacks, black beanies, and just like cameras in hand and just like running like media.
Kind of nuts.
Like wild, bro.
It's kind of nuts.
But that like helped me dramatically.
Yeah.
It helped me a lot to get like build like a portfolio and doing things like that. And granted, I didn't do like there was times where I actually got media passes and whatnot. But you know, it was great because I was able to like refine my craft through just shooting anything.
Yeah.
You know, I was self-teaching myself through YouTube University and all that, you know.
For sure. Self-taught always.
Exactly. And then started working with some pretty cool up-and-coming artists that, you know, started to get pretty big. And that's kind of like where it started. And then like, yeah, that's where it happened. And then COVID hit, and then we can go on.
Wow. So that's everything leading up to COVID and like the start of your content creation.
Because I was in college, I was like balancing college and like this passion of filmmaking.
Got it.
Like at the same time. So I was like, and I was a wild party animal. So I was like trying to have a social life. So,
I see.
So it was like, it wasn't like I was fully invested into actually any of them. You know what I mean? I was like just kind of like skating through life a little bit.
Right.
I knew I loved this. I knew I was super talented at it. People knew I was really good at it. But like even in college, I was like shooting mannequin challenges, like doing things that were just really cool, you know, like just for the school. And it was I was just falling in love with this thing that, you know, I had no idea where it was going to go.
Yeah.
But at some point after I was doing the music videos, I realized I'm like, I need to turn this into a business. I opened up an LLC just very haphazardly, and I shouldn't have, because at the time I was like, oh, opening up an LLC is so cool. Like I'm an entrepreneur. Like that's the thing to do, right? At 19, I didn't have a consistent client base or anything. I'm like, but that is what like rich people do. Like that's what business owners do, right? So I started my brand Shakti in 2017. Shakti. And then what happened was I noticed that there was this gap in the market in the Bay Area where all the filmmakers are going to New York or LA, and the ones that are in the Bay Area, they're filming for a lot of like SaaS, like just tech brands.
Yeah.
But I realized that a lot of the videos for the high tech space, so life science, pharmaceutical, drug development, biotech, med device, all the content were like extremely boring, plain boring vanilla videos,
Oh, really?
Corporate-y type of videos.
There's no artistic integrity. It's just
exactly like no taste.
Very simple. Yeah, no taste.
Exactly. And what I ended up realizing, I'm like, why I love music video looks. And around this time, this is when I like found out about you. So like through my college years, that's when I found out about you.
Wow.
And like a lot of other directors who I was looking up to, like in Los Angeles, and I was like, wow, a lot of these guys are doing such great things. I was looking up to directors who were making really cool spots for a lot of these CPG brands and, just the entire, consumer market. And I realized, I'm like, I love to take this style and do that for the life science space.
Yeah. They need it.
They need it, right? And because if you want to attract the new generation of talent, if you want to attract, or communicate to the new stakeholders, the patients who you are delivering these drugs or devices towards that are going to be in this generation or millennial generation,
right?
You want to be able to do it in a very tasteful way. How can you make these industries that are not sexy look sexy and more approachable, because they are very daunting. There's so much distrust in those spaces anyway, because, insurance fucks up a lot of people, XYZ.
Yeah.
So how do you, instill trust and tell stories of these companies that are making incredible, developments and products that are serving humanity? So I said, okay, I'm gonna do that. Like that's the fucking move.
Yeah.
And what ended up happening was I realized I'm 19, 20, 21 or whatever. So 2019, I dropped out of college. And I said, hey, I was in my fourth year too.
You're in your senior year and you dropped out?
I was on, to be fair, I was never on track to graduate in 4 years. I was going to graduate in like 5 years.
Oh, really?
But Mom was not happy. But I said, Mom, I know what I want to do. Like, I know what I want to do with Shakti. Like, I just have to hustle, cold call, do everything I can to get sales, right? And at the time I was teaching myself, sales and all of these things. And at the same time, I dropped out. I went fully sober. I quit partying. I cut off a lot of people. And I said, I'm going to go all in on my business and my brand.
Wow.
And I had so much confidence in me because I said, hey, you know what? If I learned so much over the years, I feel confident to be able to do this. So again, I did run into like a lot of pitfalls, like trying to do outreach and go to JP Morgan, like conferences and like all these like tech networking events and whatnot. And I was really out there like trying to hustle and like get deals. And then I was like, okay, 2020, we're going to make this happen. This is going to be my year. This is it. We finna do it. All right. I'm gonna do a 50K commercial, a 100K commercial. I'm gonna do it. Like this is my year. End of February comes around.
Yeah.
The world shuts down.
Damn, dude.
We'll pause there for like that. I can go. I want to give you space also to like,
There's a lot. There's a lot to unpack here. There's a lot to unpack.
Because that was like up until that point, COVID. And then after that, my life changes.
Yeah.
But that's kind of like...
That's the intro.
That's the intro, baby.
What an intro, bro.
Yeah, dude. And that's the TLDR of the intro. So yeah.
Okay. We like have these levels of delusion when we're kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you want to be a rapper. And there's nothing wrong. Like obviously you can do it. You could totally do it. But the one thing that stops us is confidence.
Yes.
And what builds momentum is having enough confidence to say, the hate.
Yes.
I don't care how much work this is going to take.
Correct.
I don't care how many times I get told no.
Yeah.
But if I keep doing this enough,
right,
I will build enough momentum that maybe this will go somewhere.
Correct.
And I think what happens with any sort of creation, any sort of creative field, is that people stop too early because they get discouraged.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
and sometimes that's okay because it'll lead you down paths that you were supposed to go down, you know? Like if you try rapping for 6 years and it's not working out for you, maybe it's just not what's meant to be for you, right? So
there's also power in and strength in letting go.
Yes.
When things have run their course.
That's another important thing, right?
It's a strong sense of discernment, right? And sometimes the universe will nudge you and make you feel guilty, like, oh, you didn't push hard enough. Oh my God, if you just kept picking the axe, you would have hit diamonds. But sometimes, you may have been picking in the wrong direction anyway.
There you go.
And God, the universe, is looking to just course correct you, like, hey, no, there's something far more aligned for you.
Yes.
That's actually going to make you far more fulfilled and bring you to a sense of purpose.
So let's fast forward here. Okay. 2020, you're pivoting. Like, dude, TikTok was such a crazy era, man. 2020, lockdown, COVID, TikTok comes out of nowhere.
Up.
It was originally Musical.ly, and then Musical.ly changed changed into TikTok, and TikTok wasn't even originally the app it is today. It was like people lip singing songs. And anyways, I don't want to spend hours on this, but I'm just curious in the most shortest nutshell version.
Please.
What drew you to TikTok and content creation?
Totally. I was drawn to TikTok because during COVID, I still needed a creative outlet to express a lot of the epiphanies and realizations I was going through my sobriety, that I was chatting about with my friends, that I was sharing with my parents, and I was just steeping into as a result of, understanding my spiritual path at the time. I didn't know how to channel that properly because I kept feeling like creativity is only reserved for, okay, if I'm filming for brands or music videos or whatever, like that's the time I can be creative. I didn't know how to give myself permission to just do that for the sake of doing it. For myself. And I ran into a lot of what I think a lot of people can resonate with. I was doom scrolling like crazy.
Especially during COVID, huh?
During COVID, like screen time was like outrageous, like absolutely ridiculous.
Before you started creating content?
Before I was creating content, like I was like every day I was like 7 hours, 8 hours, like scrolling. I mean, it's COVID. I'm like, I have nothing to do. And I mean, I would just go on hikes and I was like super introspective, but like I just fell into this habit. I was like, wow. And at the time, some old buddies of mine, they told me, they're like, I was telling them like, you guys, I'm feeling super depressed, super anxious because I'm just like scrolling my life away. I'm like, I feel like I'm amounting to nothing. And they said, Sooraj, you talk about such incredible things with us, such profound realizations that you're coming to in this self-love journey that you're on, with your sobriety and everything that you're going through. Why don't you spend the same amount of time you spend consuming content with producing it and just putting things out on TikTok? Like just share like what you share with us, like on your phone. I was like,
great friends.
Incredible. Like, I was like, whoa. I was like, I never thought of that. Like, that's actually genius. And then end of 2020, anytime I had the urge to scroll, I'd go outside. I'd be outside for 8-9 hours a day, just driving around the Bay Area, my hometown or whatever. And I'd post, I shit you not, 5 to 9 videos every single day for 3 months.
What videos were these? I don't think I saw these.
This is where this is the first time I actually blew up.
What?
I went from 0 to 100,000 followers in like 2.5 months.
What kind of content were you posting?
Every single piece of content that I was making was self-love, self-awareness oriented pieces of advice that I was journaling for myself. I was using my TikTok as a form of self-art therapy to pull me out of my consumption habit and use it as a digital diary. And it was a way for me to just express myself creatively by using dance, writing, and like my ideas of composition, and just using purely my phone, just using my phone.
Was it just like, so when you said 3 things, dance, writing, like what would it be different things like cameras, your iPhone setup?
I set up my phone, and I do like some lyrical hip hop, and I'm putting like some quotes on my,
yeah.
around like, whatever I'm going through.
Your quotes are fire. I love your quotes.
Thank you, brother. It's
so good.
That's why I say writing is like always been my best friend since I was a rapper, as a lyricist.
Phenomenal.
To now,
Phenomenal writer. Phenomenal writer. I can't even give you your flowers enough. You're so good, dude.
Thank you, brother.
So good at writing.
I appreciate that. I'm just a channel for the divine to channel through me. Those words are, yeah.
We need to make a movie. Like, we got to talk about this. You'd be
100. We are talking
God.
1,000%. And here's the thing. When I was doing that, I unintentionally, and again, this was not to build a following. This was purely to like just get me out of a rut.
Yeah.
But when I was sharing myself very vulnerably on the internet, and I was taking I called them self dates at the time. I'd go
That's
cook.
awesome.
I'd cook I'd take like a table, a stove, and I'd go to Big Sur and I'd cook like French toast and eggs on like a cliffside over the ocean, or like on a mountainside or whatever. And I just document the whole thing. And I'd get realizations and tell people, take yourself on a date, like be introspective, like go sit in healthy solitude to understand your patterns, all these things. And I was sharing all these things very openly for like 3 months. And then as a result, it was helping so many people. People were like, oh my God, I needed this. I never thought of this. Like, who are you? This and that. And I unintentionally just built a massive audience around just being me and having fun. And I was like,
awesome.
I'm helping people, but I'm having fun. I was like, okay, cool.
I'm nerding out right now. Can I just stop you real quick?
Please.
Okay. This is so cool. So can you give me an example? I want to get into the technical stuff. Give me an example of like you talked about the French toast on the cliff. Like, what does that look like? Is it just lock off camera, shot of you, beautiful view, eating French toast and eggs? Like,
exactly. I'm like, I'm like zooming in on like, my phone when I'm like turning on the fire, like everything. I'm treating it like a music video.
So insert shot, fire on,
everything.
Insert shot, whipping the eggs,
everything with just a phone.
And then
same thing you would do for a literal ad. I was just doing it like on my phone.
And were you talking, or was it just a quote on the screen at the time?
Sometimes it was just like trending music, and like people just like see it. Sometimes it would be,
was it a caption at least? Like, would you put?
Yeah, and there'd be a caption. It'd always be a little bit different. Sometimes it'd be a voiceover. Sometimes it'd be...
Oh my God, I'm gonna watch these. I've seen a lot of your. I saw all the way to like 2021, but this had to have been 2020, huh?
Yeah, end of 2020 and then top of 2021.
Maybe
was
I did
like
see
very
some
much
of
this.
I did see some content that was way different, like different. It was color graded differently. It was like way more organic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was all phone related. I realized like you didn't have to wait for permission to do this. Like, you could just be creative with your phone.
Yeah, and our phone was getting decent now. That was like the time where like the iPhone wasn't shitty anymore. The camera wasn't shitty. Like,
and it's like you can make really cool stuff, and there was no excuse.
Yeah, there's no excuse.
Like zero excuse. I'm like, you can build an audience with just your phone. And granted, I will say this, it was a privilege of time to be able to use, like, you were either using COVID for one of two ways to like improve your life or just, feel defeated.
Right. COVID was a lot of people, if you leverage your time the right way, you could do crazy things.
Wild, bro. It's a full collective reset.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of like how I started the content creation.
Yeah.
And then it took a life of its own.
It did.
Yeah. And then 2021 came around and the world started to open back up.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, you know what? I still had my brand Shakti. And I said, hey, I'm going to go out and look for deals again. And I landed a deal with a med device company doing some incredible work in the robotics, like surgical space.
Yeah.
I said, okay, this is my foot in the door. I, took out my last $6,000 from, my college fund. My mom, I was like, Mom, this is gonna be my big break. I'm gonna just invest. I'm gonna put my foot in the door and like.
What did you invest in exactly?
I was hiring a DP, hiring like crew, hiring like everything like that, right?
But the brand didn't pay. Why did you use your money?
Because, I said, hey, I will do this video for like cheap because I want to do it as like a portfolio.
Oh, okay.
So I said, hey, you know what? I want to be able to, help you guys out here.
Mm-hmm.
And what I ended up doing, I ended up producing and directing 2 commercials for them, or like, brand films that like lived on their YouTube and whatnot. And, they're just wildly experimental, like cool or whatnot, and just being able to test the waters. They loved them. They said, you know what, Sooraj? We want to bring you on for a long-term 1-year partnership. And I said, holy fuck, dropping out of college wasn't a bad idea. Like, this is great. Like I am finally getting my foot through the door. Like I got my break here. I'm going to finally start making consistent money from not making any consistent money.
Yeah.
Because during COVID, I was on government assistance. I was still doing like music videos during COVID, and these things were like keeping me afloat and whatnot. Still living with mom and dad. And then when I had this opportunity, I said, okay, great. So the founder said, hey, we're going to let's set up a meeting. Let's talk about how to structure this partnership. I said, great. They're like, okay, hey, here's the date. We're going to all meet up, this and that. Mind you, I've had an existing relationship with them. Everything's been great. Work really well together.
Was it cold outreach? How'd they find you?
I went to JP Morgan. It's like a biotech, like banking conference.
Yeah.
Up in SF. And I met them through there, just met the founders.
Got it.
So then I show up to the scheduled meeting.
After you made the content for them? Or
after I made these 2 commercials for them.
Got it.
Have a really deep relationship with them.
Yeah.
Right? I show up to the meeting. I called the CEO. I said, hey, I'm outside your building. He said, come outside. I'm like, can you come outside? Like, come get me or send someone down and get me. He didn't respond. I was like, oh, okay, let me call him again, Didn't respond. Oh, let me shoot him a text. Hey, I'm outside. I brought chai. Here I am. Like, let's, I'm here. I'm 5 minutes early.
Oh no, not the chai, dude.
I know. And then he was Indian too, granted. So
okay.
Yeah.
No, I love that. I love that you did that, but I already know where this is going. It's fun.
And then I was like, this is great. I called the project manager who I was working with on a lot of these commercials. I said, hey, I'm outside. Doesn't answer. Called him 3 times. Doesn't answer. I was like, what's going on? A minute before the 5 p.m. scheduled meeting, he switches the calendar invite to declined. It's like, hey, I'm outside. I was trying to FaceTime and everything. I was like blowing up their phone, actually.
You were, yeah.
I was emailing him. I was like, yo,
when you had
up?
a scheduled meeting, it's like...
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then I was outside for 20 minutes. I was like, what the hell? Like, did they just ghost me? Like, that's actually wild. Started crying a lot. Went to the waterfront. I was just like sitting there. I was like crying a bunch. I was like, what? Why does it seem like nothing's working out for me?
Did you email them at least? Like, dude, what the
Everything.
heck?
Everything.
Like, nothing?
Nothing. I'm sitting there, I'm crying, and I'm like, why is nothing working out for me? I feel like every time I feel like I'm trying to make strides and, towards my career, it feels like I'm always running into friction. It's like, why do I feel like I'm not being valued as a creative?
Mm-hmm.
And then at that point, God reached me in that moment, and this voice said, Sooraj, you're so focused on looking at the things that are not working that it's distracting you from looking at the things that are.
Mm.
And at that moment, I pulled out my phone, pulled up my TikTok, and at this point, I had like 250,000 followers. And again, there was never an intention of being an influencer. I never had brand deals or anything. Like, it was just like, I'm just doing these things. And I looked at it. That voice was saying, why don't you take yourself more serious? And from that moment, it truly changed my life because I kept waiting for permission and looking for someone else to validate my self-worth, validate that I can do the creative projects that I wanted, and that someone was going to give me the big break.
Mm.
Some opportunity, some brand, someone was going to be that, knight in shining armor for me.
Yeah.
But God in that moment said, no, just stop waiting and just go do it for yourself.
Love that.
Take that high quality energy you would want to do for other brands.
Yes.
Do it for yourself.
I love that.
That moment changed my life because even a week before that, I was going through a breakup and it was just like a recipe of like nothing was working out. And from that point, August of 2021 to December, I went from 250,000 followers to 1 million.
No
on TikTok.
Freaking way.
So my content got so incredibly good. I was just like lip singing a lot of cool music. Quotes were great. I was basically making myself into a music video.
Right.
All of my content was like treating me like as if I was a star in a music video, like a Bollywood film.
Right.
Like lip singing like other people's songs, but doing it in a very tasteful way.
Right.
It's not like, your classic TikToks where you're like lip singing, but like, no, I was like making a full on production for myself.
You had the studio. That's when you had the chai videos.
And that's when it transitioned into all of that.
Got it.
And I was putting out quotes and journals and like, phrases that that were helping me process a lot of my, my breakup, a lot of things that I was going through around understanding this version of letting go of myself, et cetera, et cetera. My followers were like, hey, can you take that phrase? Can you take that quote? Can you take this thing that you always say?
Yeah.
And can you put it on a hoodie? I would wear it.
Jesus, dude, that's insane.
I was like, what? I never thought of that.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, print on demand, get some quality hoodies.
Dope.
Boom. Did a first launch, got like 30 hoodie sales. I was like, whoa, there's something here.
Yeah, dude.
I was like, 30 hoodie sales in like a week.
Through your content organically.
Organic. And then I was like, okay, let me do a winter drop. And this is all like end of 2021. That got like 100 sales. I was
holy moly.
Whoa. I was like, there's something here. Granted, I'm only making like 30% profit on it, but it's like still something, you know what I mean?
Yeah, dude.
And like, I'm just like reinvesting it all into like more samples, like more designs and whatnot.
Yeah, dude.
Fast forward into 2022.
Yeah.
Did like a few more drops. Every drop got a little bit bigger. And then I realized I'm like, fuck, I can make my own money doing the things that I love. Like I'm building a merch line by being myself and making myself,
you had fans, dude. You had an audience.
And it was mind-blowing because I never saw that. I thought this was like a possibility.
Right.
And then was it April? Like then there was like, this is at this point I was doing all the chai transition. I found like this formula that really worked out.
Yeah,
well.
You had the crazy transition videos. I remember that. And you did a lot.
I did a lot because it was able to drive an international following because it didn't require me to talk. So it was able to go beyond borders, right? It was just like aesthetically pleasing, but it was also just very intriguing. And then May of 2022, I hit like a 50 to 60K month in just merch sales alone. And I said, holy shit, just off like 2-3 videos. What? Organic, dog. And I realized I'm like, holy fuck, this is unheard of, bro.
Yeah, dude. That's
granted,
insane.
Like I thought that was going to last forever. Didn't realize like merch is also very volatile. Content algorithms is all volatile, but 2022 was like my best year. Like merch was like, there's some months I was doing like 25,000. Some months I was doing like 40,000.
Was that profit or was that just total revenue?
Just total revenue, 30% of that, whatever.
Yeah.
And I pushed my merch for about 2.5, 3 years. And maybe I got like a brand deal here and there, but like not really. It was mostly merch that was driving everything.
Wow,
and I was doing all the customer service. I was doing everything, right? So I was like, I had an engine. I had a system. I was like, I know if I make these 3 formats of content, like a music video style piece, like a modeling, chai pouring piece, this other piece, this is great. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. Then I'm going to launch a chai line. I'm going to launch my whole CPG line. This is going to be great. I wanted to do all of that.
You would have crushed it.
I would, because I got like tens of thousands of people said, hey, can you drop a chai line?
That would have been sick. What happened?
Just so many like logistical things like to like rip me away from like being a creator that I would have to like understand and learn. And I really wanted to, because back in COVID, I actually made a chai brand, like a tea line, but the infrastructure to build CPG is very, very difficult.
Yeah.
It's actually a very difficult thing.
You need a team a little bit.
You definitely need a team. And I'm a creative, you know what I mean? Like when it comes to operations and doing all that, like it's a lot, sourcing, all that. So anyway, 2022, I felt like, okay, I'm going to turn this Shakti, my brand, into a streetwear brand, because it unintentionally turned into a creator-owned brand, right? It wasn't just film production. It was like me as the front face of the creator economy. A lot of creators are making their own brands. I said, you know what? That's what I'm going to do. You know what I mean? Like people want to support creators' brands. People want to support my brand, and whatever ecosystem I build under that,
right,
they'll support it.
Right.
I ran into a pitfall where I started, all my content was merch focused, essentially, for a long time. And I started to feel creatively stunted.
Right.
I felt like, wait a minute. I got overwhelmed and anxious. I'm like, I'm not a streetwear brand. I'm not like these, all these Represent, Young LAs, like all these guys, Kim Shark, all these guys who are doing like really cool stuff.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm looking up to these guys, but I forgot that's not who I am.
Right.
I got caught up in the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
I started attaching again my worth to the outcome of my creative endeavor. Oh, if I'm not building a strong streetwear brand or whatever, then I might not be being successful. But I realized it wasn't fulfilling me, because I realized I'm not that. I'm a creative.
Mm-hmm.
I was telling my father about this, and he told me, he's like, Suraj, why? I said, I'm not fulfilled making this sort of content. He said, why don't you make the content you were making before you were making TikToks, which was, I forgot to mention this, my ego and higher self conversations, that started actually the moment COVID started. I started posting these like scripts and like things I was going through on YouTube, and they'd only get like 5-7 views. And I posted like 10 of them, and they never did well. So I just kind of like shelved it. You know what I mean? And my dad said, why don't you go do those things that you were doing back in, COVID, like the acting? Why don't you do that? Like, you loved it. You had no expectation. You felt so fulfilled doing it. Like, there was no expectation of results attached to that creative endeavor. Why don't you just do that? I said, oh, but maybe I'm not that strong of an actor. Maybe I'm not a strong screenwriter. He says, then work for that shit. Like, teach yourself. Just do it.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. And so then I took the big risk, and I stopped making chai videos, stopped doing like these modeling videos.
You stopped doing things that worked at the time.
Exactly. And
because you weren't creatively fulfilled.
Exactly. Even if right now, if I put out on TikTok like a chai video or modeling video,
It'd go crazy.
it'd blow the fuck up. Because there's so many songs and trends that I could have hopped on with perfect beat drops, everything over the past like 2 years, that easily would have 15 million followers by now.
Do you get tempted to do it?
No.
You don't?
Nope.
You're fighting that you don't have any temptation?
Nope.
I love that for you.
Because it's like I had to kill off that version of myself that doesn't serve me anymore.
Dude, I love you. You're amazing, bro.
And it's, even my parents were like, why don't you just do it? Like, you'll get big, this and that. But I'm like, that's not who I want to be known for anymore. Like, I am maturing as a creative. I'm stepping into, I'm a storyteller at the end of the day. Like, I wanted to reintroduce my voice and channel it. So I said, hey, you know what? I'm going to practice becoming an actor and screenwriter, and just take all like that same high-end cinematography and directing style, and I'm like, I'm just going to start making my own films. And for the first year and a half of doing that, they did god awful, so bad, because like,
why, dude?
Because it's like you're transitioning your content. And granted, I've switched my content style from like, let's say, all that like self-dating stuff, like where I used to take myself on a date, like the talking in the car, like, dancing, like the chai stuff. I've changed my content style like 5+ times.
Yeah.
And each iteration of them, they all had an era of virality.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that one content style was my end all be all. Some people only stick to one format of content and stick with that their entire life and are afraid to evolve. But as a creative, your innate nature is to express and evolve your soul
100%.
through various mediums. And
100%.
if you stick to the thing that's only worked for like 5 years, 10 years, you're not going to grow as a creative. Like, you're going to run into a wall. And creative energy, she has a mind of her own. She wants to evolve at her own rate, and you just have to surrender to that.
Yep.
So I knew that there was a growing pain of restarting, because you're shitty at first. I'm losing tens of thousands of followers because I'm switching my content style.
Does the algorithm penalize you for switching up your content style?
It does, because what once performed well on your content and brought in a ton of traffic because of that content style, a lot of your audience is following you because of that format. And because they know you for that format, if you switch your format to something wildly different, and in my case, going from a piece of content that didn't require understanding any English for the most part, and it was very aesthetic driven, to something that's heavy English, heavy dialogue, heavy like using big brain power, you know what I mean? To like understand and sit with something on a short form platform that's meant for like 7-10 second videos. So I was making content that was like 7 to 15, 20 seconds long that blew up my account.
And now more mindless. It was just easy. You scroll and you see it.
Yeah, you can see it and you're like, okay, great. And now I'm switching to a minute long run times.
And you have to sit and watch and think about it.
And think about it.
And you have to know English. You have to know English.
And you have to know English. So I shot myself in the foot, because my content is being pushed to and this is what TikTok does, or Instagram. They'll push it to a pool or an audience of 200, 300, 500 people of your followers. And if it does well with them, they'll graduate it to the next pool and a bigger pool and a bigger pool before it hits the FYP.
So it starts with your followers first.
Yeah, followers and like people who may like that that style of content that you were doing or not.
Right.
And if they don't like, they're like, oh, this is completely different.
What are the metrics? Like they have to heart it or comment, like say
Yeah, so it's like I don't know like the exact metrics, but they'd have to at least have watched like over 50% of the video.
Oh, okay. So it's watch time, engagement. But watch time you think is the most?
Watch time I think is 100% the most, and shareability.
Shareability. Okay, so even sending it to their friends or
Correct. Those things are huge for people.
Interesting.
So because I shot myself in the foot and I'm doing this other content style, I was like, okay, it's not really going to take off. I had to make the hard decision to not put as much time and energy into TikTok anymore. And I switched to Reels. And Reels, I was still putting out like my chai transition stuff, and I started blowing up because of that there too. But it seemed as if my Reels reacted far better to my skits. And sure, some of my skits did pretty well on TikTok, but there was a period where I was still learning, I was adapting, I was like trying to teach myself. I was literally learning in public of like this new content style. It was pretty cringy at first. And then my acting got better. I was studying more. I was learning about screenwriting. I was teaching myself, and I was like, okay, it finally got really good. And then, and then like it took a life of its own. I found formulas that worked for me, and I was able to understand hooks and psychology and everything around deeper and stronger storytelling.
Yes.
And then this new format of content I've been doing for like 2 years now, and it's done phenomenally well. And pretty much like that's the TLDR. And I said, hey, I'm not pushing merch as much. Great. So Sooraj, how are you going to make money? And it's been like a very difficult, like kind of like 2 years, because I was like, okay, I'm looking for representation. I was looking for talent agencies, looking for these brands and to work with me. But my content style was not traditional influencer material.
Yeah.
So a lot of these creative briefs that these brands will make or creative agencies will make on behalf of a brand, they're going to shop it around to, influencer agencies, people who have a large roster, and will say, hey, we want to plug in 50, 20, 30, 40 influencers into this brief. Do you have people who can fit this within auto, fashion, beauty, XYZ, right? If they can fit into this, creative brief, great. But if the content style of someone is like very, very different and like, they don't have like a certain section you can fit them into, it's a very hard, one, pitch. And then two, a strong indicator for talent management companies to work with you is if you have strong inbound. I never had strong inbound, like my entire time as a content creator, ever.
Really?
Surprisingly,
it's
right?
Like nobody reached out to you, like no brands or anything?
Not really. No.
Interesting. You have such an insane following.
And that's the thing. I want to demystify the world of influencers. And I hate calling myself an influencer. It's like, I see myself as a filmmaker at the end of the day. But it's a weird world. Content creator, filmmaker, artist, like everything. It's just so weird. But anyway, the world of influencers is just because they have a huge following, it doesn't mean anything in this day and age. Because if your audience isn't one niched to a certain, industry, it's harder to source deals that, can fit that audience demographic you have. Brands are smart. They know a lot of followers don't even see your content anymore, right? They want to know you have an engaged, following. And they want to also know that, the content that you're doing is you're able to adapt into whatever it is that they need you to pitch and, promote.
Like
right?
kind of moldable a little bit, right?
You have to be moldable. And I know a ton of, men and women influencers, 50 to 150,000 followers, whatever, making way more than me. They're making like 300K off like just UGC, like brand deals and stuff like fashion, beauty. And I'm like, they're making 400K, 500K between YouTube, their TikTok.
Per year?
Yeah.
And is it because they're just super niche down?
And they're also, they're able to, not even that, it's like they're able to adapt their like, okay, you have a brief, I'll do whatever it is that brief says. Like I'll shift my entire content style to fit that. Like
Okay.
this is the script I'll do, or this is like the way I'll integrate the product. The integration is much easier
With their style
with their style.
compared to yours.
Totally.
I see. What kind of brands do you think would be suitable for your style?
It's interesting because what my content requires is a harder pitch because brands are intrinsically not creative. That's why they source creative agencies.
Right.
But brands, like, they don't see that, like, okay, how can this integration work in your style of content? That's where, like, my expertise comes in. And I think I could work with any, like, Fortune 1000 brand easily.
Easily.
But it's like they don't see the vision, and and to them, doing one-off deals with influencers, it's like, is that a good use of their resources and time, or would they rather spend their energy talking to an agency that has a strong roster, and they say, hey, can we get 50 influencers that can just do this thing and have no questions asked and not have to like shift or switch too much?
Right.
Again, even all that is what I'm saying is a little bit nuanced because also I'm not saying that. Like, I tried reaching out to like 7 talent management companies, and they all turned me away or didn't like want to work with me because they said,
What?
you don't have strong enough inbound and your content style is too abstract.
Do you have an agency right now? Do you have any reps?
No.
What the I don't understand that.
And the one who I was on trial with one, and they were like, you have to switch your content style to make it feel more
AKA dumb it down.
correct. And it's like, I was like, nah, I don't want to do that. I'm like, and I realized, I'm like, part of me, so it's been a struggle like doing that. But then this year alone, I was able to close like a couple deals. This great guy, also Iranian guy, he owns an agency out here.
Nice.
He was able to bring me dating app deal.
Nice. That could, yeah, I see how that fits.
And thanks to him, I was able to do my style, my skit style, my narrative style of content without having to change myself. And I said,
Sick.
see, that's an example I needed. And then
It's a good case study for you.
that one, and then Waymo last year, they were able to let me do my content style. And then Waymo again this year, they did like 3 activations. And they said, yeah, we like your style. We want you to do what you want to do. And I said, oh my God, I don't have to change myself. It just takes the right ones to take a chance on you. And then once you have the case study of a few, then going out pitching will be a much easier, all that.
Way easier. Brands are stupid because they need to see it first before they're like,
okay, hey, everyone else is doing it, we'll hop on. You know what I mean?
It's the same with commercial directing. Like for me, I've had a hard time breaking into commercial directing because brands will see me as like the music video guy.
Right.
So they're like, yeah, we know you work with like all these, big artists and celebrity talent, but have you shot cookies before? Because we're a cookie brand. Have you shot,
Right.
like where it's like, dude, like it's not about, it's like in music videos is different because music videos, they see what you've done and they want you to like, they see your potential and they want to use your potential to create something unique and different. With commercials, they want you to basically be able to recreate the same thing over and over and over. You see what I'm saying? So it's a little bit different. Like with commercials, it's like, we see you do this, we want you to recreate that. With music videos, it's like, we see what you've done with this. Now, can you do this as well? So it's
correct.
I totally understand what for a content creator, it's like, they just want to see it like, okay.
And that's why a lot of directors need like spec work for like,
yeah, spec work helps a lot.
For like the specific areas that you want to dive deeper into.
You need spec work if you don't have it.
Of course.
Even for someone like at the highest level, like, dude, you might need it. Sorry, man. Fucking put your ego away,
Exactly.
But it's the same thing. But what's great for you is like you don't even need specs because now you have the Waymo case study, you have the dating app case study.
Correct.
And now it's gonna help. Like other brands will see that. They're gonna see how it performs. Like not just that, but like what are the conversations in the comments and and also like just how does it look in your content style,
Right.
And they're gonna be like, oh, we kind of like this. And dude, it's gonna come. It's gonna be awesome.
Thank you, dude. And honestly, man, like, it just takes a healthy amount of like delusion and faith to be like, okay, is this gonna work? And there's always still this fear of like, how long will it last?
I know what you mean, bro. I know
know
what you mean.
And even now, man, like very transparently, man, I still think about looking for a job.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you this. Why haven't you?
It's interesting because, I realize how volatile like brand deals, like advertising and sponsorships are.
Dude, the creator life is volatile as shit.
It's so volatile, and I'm realizing I've built my entire life off chaos,
Yeah.
and which is pretty much an unregulated nervous system. And I've never like to do deeper healing for myself and be able to operate from I guess a stronger nervous system that will sometimes require a sense of stability in all areas of your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's something that I've been seeking. And, I launched a subscription service. And I had like 60 students. I had like a wait list of like 5,000 people.
What?
This was like in December. I was like looking for ways to make consistent income, like between like brand deals and doing that. And I said, hey, I'm going to launch this. I launched it. It was great. Like, I had students from like all over the world. It was awesome. It was fulfilling. But I didn't feel fully fulfilled because I knew there's still this deep need to want to tell stories and be
Yeah.
narratives. And it's like, that comes at the cost. Like sometimes you want stability, but sometimes like this passion or this like burning fire in you that you've programmed yourself to desire and want, it's sometimes very strong. So like it felt like this sense of stability was not fulfilling because I'm like, it can make great money. There's like the potential there was like phenomenal. But I ended up shutting down the community and everything.
What?
I
Come
know,
on,
dude.
Sooraj.
I know, it's crazy because
It's tough, bro. It's like, here's the thing, man. It's like the things that might bring you stability are kind of going to be a pain in the ass sometimes.
And that's wild, bro, because honestly, I was like, no, dude, I believe in myself. I know that I can, launch a YouTube, because that's the only place I haven't grown yet. And it's like the trifecta I want to grow in is like grow a YouTube channel.
Yeah, yeah.
And I kept saying, no, I saw like YouTubers making like hella money.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
even now, I'm like, I can do that. You know what I mean? And I'm like, and I can still be creative. You know what I mean? And I just keep thinking like sometimes the seeking of stability, it's a paradox because
Yeah, I
I'm like,
know.
part of me is like, I want stability, but part of me is also like, hold out a little bit longer because you might just get into the flow of the stability within the thing that you've been working so hard to build,
Right.
which
No,
is your
it's
creative
true.
thing.
It's true.
So,
and you're young too, dude. You're
Yeah.
still young. Like, you're not 40, dude. You
Yeah.
know? I mean, 40 is still young, but I'm saying like, because you're still in your 20s, it's not like you have to rush to get a job. I'm just telling you, bro, if you got a job now.
I went through a recent breakup, that's why.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Wait, recent?
October, I went through the breakup, but then I tried spinning the block.
Oh.
And then that actually hit harder because we parted on amicable terms. Like it was like a timeline difference. She was 3 years older, all that.
Oh, yeah.
And point is, because she was 3 years older, after we split and it was very logical of a decision. So I didn't really feel my emotions. And then like 3-4 months ago, I kind of reached back out, wanted to rekindle, see like, you know what? I put my ego aside. You know what? I'll meet you at your timeline. I'm down to have kids when you want to have kids. I'll become the husband and father that, is required to do this. And if that requires me to, mature my dreams into something where I can fit both, your dreams and desires and compromise that and also do mine, but at a slower rate, I'll do that for love. You know what I mean? And the truth is, I finally met at the compromise. She was like, I'm finally learning to love myself because of you. I've learned to chase my purpose and I found it because of you. Like, it's not about those things anymore. It's because, I have new visions and goals for myself now, and I'm moving on to actually chase my dreams now. And it wasn't about the kids and like the stability anymore, but I had come to the state of mind where I desire love.
Mm-hmm.
I desire a relationship. And to do that, you need stability in a lot of sense, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I want to be that provider for someone. And I realize I'm like, how can I be the provider for my parents when they're old? How can I be the provider for, my kids and putting them through college? And I'm looking at how my life looks right now and thinking that it's going to be like this volatile thing forever.
Yeah.
As a creative. But a lot of people saying, you're still young. Like the thing is, it still takes time to mature. But, I was thinking like, fuck, like, who knows? It's the level of doubt that any entrepreneur or creative goes through. Like,
It's insane, bro.
it's a constant battle of doubt. And anyway, so spun the block. She wasn't down, and basically fully closed that chapter out. And I actually started to grieve the process over the past like 4 months.
I'm sorry, dude. It's tough.
Actually, I wouldn't even say sorry. I would say, oddly enough, it's more of a congratulations.
Congrats, man.
Exactly. Because the reason I say that is you are able to reclaim yourself and you're able to celebrate something that once was very beautiful, incredible form of love. And you're able to take that and start loving the world more, loving yourself more, loving the outside things that you do and people who you meet. And it doesn't have to be confined anymore. And you're able to understand your capacity for love. So it's more of like a congrats, like you went through an experience that most people never get to experience ever in their life.
Yeah.
So point is that sparked the idea of stability and wanting to find a job.
Yeah.
Because it cracked me open and I realized, is there room for me to be a creative director or head of content at like some company that, could use someone who has grown through the creator economy?
You'd crush too.
And I was like, and I can make, a healthy check, but also do my films and stuff on the side in a way where I don't burn out from doing the thing that I love because I just need it to make money, like how I was doing with my merch content.
Right.
I don't want to end up hating the thing that I love, you know what I mean? And at some point, a lot of, I know a lot of YouTubers who want to graduate into like filmmaking and being a director or being a screenwriter. They have to end up pausing the thing that they've been doing for a long time and just head down, focus on getting a screenplay greenlit and going into production for like 5 years. And they come out of nowhere. They're like, oh, by the way, I just made a TV series, or I'm launching a feature film or whatever.
Right.
And that's where I was for 3 years or 4 years. Because short form content is great, but to heal my nervous system, I need stability. And that often comes in working on long form projects, working on bigger projects that you don't see direct results of.
Right.
And if those things start to feel more important to you, I feel like I did the great thing where I built a strong base. Now I can keep building that base, and I still will, but I think also I'm in a position where I'm like slowing down and working on short films and bigger projects, like bigger YouTube projects or whatever, will be far more fulfilling and just creating IP for myself that is like, that can be adapted into my own TV show, my own feature film. And it's like, that stuff takes more time, but that helps you in your healing process because that forces you to practice delayed gratification and any actions and choices that are in line with that character required to do those types of projects.
For sure. You seen Rami before on Hulu?
Yes. Like, I haven't seen it, but I know exactly what you're talking about. Same thing.
You do like, you could like totally create that version for yourself.
And
man.
like, we've seen a lot of like artists do that. Like, Donald Glover, right? He started from artist, and then Atlanta. Like, we see that with so many, like, YouTuber, Just Rain.
What was it?
Just Rain. You know him?
Was he the guy who did the show about the high school? What was it called?
No. It's he. So Just Rain, he's a Punjabi creator from YouTube back in like 2010 days. Blew up, incredible. He kind of fell off the map for like 5 years, but then he came out with this show called Late Bloomer, and it did really well on a streaming platform called Crave in Canada.
Yeah.
But point is, like, he's an example of someone who went from YouTube creator to TV. And we see a lot of YouTubers now, like, they're directors or whatever on YouTube, and now they're like getting picked up by studios and networks to make, we're seeing it left and right. So it's like, that's like the pipeline right now. Like, I eventually want to do my own like TV series and my own feature film, but it requires me to start acting and thinking a little bit differently from what I've been doing. It's what's the Sooraj, that content creator I've been for the past 5 years, is not going to be the one who's going to be doing those things. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then part of me is also like, growing following, growing the fame and helping a lot of people through my content is great and all, but there's something about like just slowing down and not having to worry about so much about all that, and like working at like maybe a company that does really, really cool shit, and I'm able to command and like lead creatively in a way that I feel like I'm making a mark on the world, where I
Yeah.
can still make that impact. Point is, it's all about just keeping an open mind, because
Yeah.
being too attached to any one outcome in this day and age as a creative is not ideal.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with
You
you.
know, so just be open minded and be okay with the tide shifting whatever way the divine wants to take you. You know, she has a mind of her own, and let that creative heart just be able to move you
Yeah,
as you know, as you feel.
for sure.
Full circle moment on that feeling,
I
you
love
know?
that. I love that. You made a lot of great points here. You've said a lot of beautiful things. And I think one thing that a creator is afraid to admit is that they could do this forever. Like, I'm not saying that, sorry. Like, what I mean is a creator can do this forever,
Mhm.
but a lot of creators, I think, are too stubborn to admit that sometimes, like, the trade off of chaos versus stability is not worth it or not sustainable, right? Like, I have a lot of friends who have, like, crazy years, and I know you're about to say something amazing. I can't wait to hear it. But I just have friends who have, like, crazy years. They'll have years where they make hundreds of thousands of dollars, and the next year it's, like, nothing. And I get scared. I get scared, dude. And I wanna hear what you have to say because 'cause you're so excited. I wanna hear it. I wanna hear it.
I love this so much. This is such a powerful statement you made, Rod. It's like, think about this. Your heart desires many, many things.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about earlier, your heart wants to go in so many different directions. What's powerful is this act of discipline and structure, right? Creativity is wild, chaotic. She has this fierce energy which wants to just express and be all over the place. But a strong masculine energy within you is helping confine that energy and be able to channel it in ways that are fulfilling and aligned with your values.
Mhm.
Most creatives don't know their values. They don't know who they, are or who they want to become, the character that they want to embody, and what that actually requires. They may want something, they have a vision of who they want to be,
Mhm.
but they don't require the values it takes to become that and what the trade-off is.
Yeah. Right.
That's the biggest thing. Most people do not have the ability to mourn lives that they may never live.
Mm.
Because oh my God, I want to be an incredible entrepreneur that has like 10,000 like amazing accounts of all these top brands, right? And I want to be this big entrepreneur. But in that way of becoming an entrepreneur, of building, let's say, an agency or a CPG company or
Yeah.
whatever it is,
Mhm.
that that trade-off might come as no family time, no, no time with your kids, maybe having kids way too late. Maybe,
Right.
not having a happy, marriage or, love life. You're not seeing your friends, not able to be a present anything. You lack your spiritual disciplines, whatever it is. And they always say people who end up building incredibly large ventures and companies have terrible mental health.
Yeah. Look at Elon. I mean, I don't know about
Elon,
his
look at Mr. Beast. He says it all the time. Like, I have like mental health. It's the worst. He says it's honestly awful. I don't think about it at all, and it's really bad. And he's like my age, and he's like
Yeah.
he says, but if I was thinking about that, then I wouldn't be doing this. If you're thinking about your mental health and like balance, we've glorified this idea of like, oh my God, like you go all in on one thing, and I get it. For seasons of your life, you can, but if it's all you do and you realize the trade-off is like sense of privacy, sense of anything,
You're trading off everything. You're trading off your mental health, your physical health, your sanity,
everything.
all that just to potentially have this glorified title as this pop-in
And you
creator.
know what's wild, bro? Like I came to this realization when I spun the block to my ex and I said this, I said, what's the point of me going to these heights if
Yeah.
I'm not going to have someone there to witness it with me?
Right, 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 right.
Sometimes you get to the end of the destination and it's lonely as fuck.
Yeah.
It's like you got there, but what was it for?
Right.
You know? And I'm realizing I'm like, there's so much value in simplicity in life. And just, again, going back to your childlike nature, if they wanted to be super seen and like heard by millions of people, that's rooted from insecurity from that child who wanted to be famous because they didn't feel seen and heard growing up.
Right.
So like myself, right?
Is that
If I
what
felt like that, a lot of other creators, they're sometimes their intention is based off, or their programming is based off, like, I want this thing because it's a sense of lack from a place of, their childhood not being fulfilled in the ways that they needed.
Yeah.
Where if you switch it, like, as a creator, like, I want to create just for the sense of joy and have no expectations for the results of this turning into anything, then you don't care if there's an audience. You don't care if, like, it blows up or it does well
Right.
or whatever, because you just
Right.
want to do it for the sake of expression.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's why some of the best books were made not for this, like, intention of, oh, this novel is going to be a worldwide seller.
Right.
It ends up being one of the best books or whatever, and then it's adapted into a movie, and then the IP is adapted into something, like, incredible, like a series of things, right? But that guy was just doing it as a sense of passion. There was no expectation. This person probably had a job
Right.
working at a company or whatever, and is telling his life story, and they adapted that story
Right.
from, just being. It wasn't like this, oh my God, I want this so bad. Like, they're so
Right.
attached to the vision,
Right. Yeah.
So that's what I'm just saying. Like, your heart wants many things, but it takes discipline to choose the right things.
Right.
Right. And you have to be okay with, like, saying, hey, I'm not going to live a 1,000 different lives in this lifetime. I rather just choose a few lives that I want to live. Just go all in on those, but be okay with, the trade-offs of that. But to know that you have to have spent enough time in solitude, enough time dating yourself, loving yourself, to know what your values are, to know what you want, to know who you want to become, and understand what's actually real, what's a false projection, projected onto you of, like, what you're being influenced by.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Totally.
these dreams of, like, being wildly successful in the ways that you think are just imprinted on you by society, or just the people you see on your phone, or from, friends and family. But you have to ask yourself, like, what is your meaning, right?
Yeah.
And people they think they know what they want, but it's like, that's not you. That's someone else influencing you.
Totally.
We're in an
Dude.
era of needing to de-influence our brains.
Yes. 100%. 100%. I watched your short. It was a very popular one. 4 million followers and I'm broke.
You watched it.
I watched it. It was
Thank you.
amazing. It was I saw it on YouTube. You dropped this last year, a little over a year ago.
Correct.
And in my opinion, it's the most vulnerable, honest take on being a creator. It's very real. It's the most, I've never seen anybody be this honest, because the problem with influencers and creators is, like, everybody glorifies it too much.
Correct.
But I encourage anybody who wants to be a creator, if you haven't started yet, or if you're, like, in the middle of trying to make it as a creator, you need to watch this short. It's phenomenal. And I appreciate the craft you put into it. I have some questions I want to rapid fire with you about.
Absolutely.
Because there's too many good things to talk about and discuss. And we've already touched on some of it,
Of course.
but these things are going to be these things to me are going to, I think, help provide a lot of clarity and value to someone who wants to get it, to potentially be someone like you, right?
Absolutely.
So first and foremost, you said something interesting. You said that becoming an artist or a creator is something you signed up for. Like, what did you think you were signing up for when you wanted to be a creator in the first place?
I signed up for this thinking, if I don't make content, I will literally not amount to anything, because I will probably off myself because of what else am I meant to do? I've never had a job. I've never, like, done anything else. Like, I've literally never worked a corporate job. Like, you know what I mean? Like, from high school to just being creative my entire life. So it's like, I signed up for going against the grain in all aspects of life. And by doing that, I realized, okay, if I don't do this, what am I going to amount to? I will go crazy. I won't be able to express myself,
Right.
or I won't be able to process my emotions in a healthy way. I signed up for this being vulnerable on the internet, being authentic as I can be in various stages of my life.
Right.
And that comes at a cost.
Yeah.
That comes at a cost of, like, being isolated from people who don't do that.
Right. Right.
It just comes at a cost of, not having stability, not, you're going in a direction you have no idea where you're going,
Right.
And I knew that.
Right.
Like, I keep making a conscious decision every day. I'm making a piece of content
Mhm.
that, like, this is going to lead to something, but I don't know where. I'm super unsure. There's, like, But that's anything in life. Let's just be honest. But we signed up for this. Anything that we're doing in life, we've signed up for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like every decision and conscious choice is a accumulation of our decisions and choices that got us here in the first place.
Right.
So no one else signed us up for this.
Right.
We have to take radical accountability that like our life is our life because of us and can change because of us.
Right. Right. Totally. Another thing that you kind of just touched upon, but it's like talking about comparison. And there's this famous quote: "Comparison is a thief of joy." Right. In this short film, you said we look at Mr. Beast, we look at David Dobrik, we look at Emma Chamberlain, and we think, oh, we can be that. But what you said that I loved was that it's not about being them; it's about being you. Right. And so, what I want to ask you is like, what is the danger in trying to chase someone else's blueprint?
The danger in trying to chase someone else's blueprint, and what I want to caution a lot of people is if you're looking at, like, for example, an influencer who's trying to teach you their ways of, going viral or becoming a director, being a creative or whatever it is, or being an artist or whatever, um, that is already setting you up for failure because now you are starting to put trust in the outside world and lacking faith in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
What ends up happening is you'll go so far down someone's path and you'll feel like, oh my God, I am living a life that's not uniquely mine.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll end up resenting, you know, yourself, other people, because, you thought by following someone else's path, that will lead you to success, but you completely ignored your skills, yourself, your strengths, your abilities within you that you could have tapped into,
Right.
that would have led you to something far deeper into alignment.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is like where you would have been able to shine better, where your service and service to humanity would have been realized. And I think if you're trying to follow like someone else's game plan, you'll be wildly miserable because you realize like that life is not yours.
Yeah.
And we want to be empowered to live a life that we feel that is ours.
Right.
But I think, like I said, you look up to a lot of these people, but truth is you're seeking yourself through those people.
Mm-hmm.
You see a part of your potential within them,
Mm-hmm.
but that doesn't mean you have to follow their exact path.
Right.
Because the truth is, this was what I was trying to say earlier. You should never like look at someone and say, hey, that is the way. That's the only way I should do it.
Right.
And if someone's preaching to you like this is the way you should be doing X, Y, Z, granted, there's nuance in what I'm saying here, so take it with a grain of salt because sometimes there is strategy, all these things like that. But when it comes down to purpose, don't believe anything anyone says, like ever. Hear me out. This sounds crazy, like wild, because even anything that I'm saying, like don't believe anything that I am saying throughout this entire podcast until you can verify it by your own experience of truth.
Right. I see what you're saying. Like don't take it as your full truth. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Exactly.
I see what you're saying.
Like, quite honestly, everything that I can be saying is complete fucking bullshit, right? But the truth is...
No, you're speaking facts.
It's like, no, the truth is, it's like, until you can verify it by your own experiences of truth, then you're able to be like, okay, that fits. So looking at someone else's path and saying that is my teacher, that is what I should be doing, is actually misleading you to an insane amount of disappointment.
Yeah.
Because you're realizing like what most people should be doing, and you should be looking at things in the world, be it this podcast, be it anything else, is not looking at what people are speaking as truth, but looking at them as suggestions onto yourself as you being the truth for yourself.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. Be your own truth.
Be your own truth.
This leads me to my next question. Another amazing thing you said. You said that for creators, there's a cycle of proving your worth and waiting for a brand or agency to save the day, right?
Yeah.
And people think, okay, once they get some sort of brand or agency, all of a sudden I made it. This is my moment, right? But do you think that creators are too dependent on those external forms of validation?
100%. I mean, creatives, all creatives I know, it's like it's the human condition. You're creative because you're insecure.
100%.
You're like, you are an artist because you're insecure and you don't know how to process your emotions. And this is the only medium you know how to process your emotions. That's it. And you're doing this because like you are a hurt little boy or little girl and you're looking for that validation and healing. And the only way you can communicate this is through your medium.
So everyone on TikTok is just hurt.
Everyone's like hurt to some degree.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
See, everybody wants validation.
I mean, here's the truth. And people might be calling me wild for this, but like, as long as you're a human on Earth, you are suffering. Like everyone here is collectively suffering, and the whole in my tradition, it's like our goal is to liberate our souls and be able to, free ourselves from this death and rebirth, right? But because any goal in life, any attachment that you have in life will result in suffering because now
Right.
you're chaining yourself. You are attaching yourself to this world and things of this world and the opinions of others and labels, meaning, this and that. But
Mm-hmm.
truth is like you're digging your own hole in doing that, right? Like that
Right.
suffering gets deeper and deeper and deeper. So even me, it's like, oh, I sometimes think, oh, maybe the right manager, the right people will help me out. But like, truth is like, no one's coming to save the day because there's nothing to save you from.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know?
That's beautifully said. The only person who can save you is yourself.
Yeah. And
Right.
even then, it's like, what's there to save? Like
I know.
you're here. You are as you are. And like, I think learning to be accepting of who you are and be okay with, okay, I need to evolve, not for the sake to become better or, you're worse or whatever. Like you are serving a purpose of you as you are right now, and that serves you who you are. Until your energy needs to evolve, that will require something different. But it's like, it's not becoming better, becoming worse, or like needing to save. Like we don't need any of those like forms of vocabulary. We're just learning to just become and be.
Yes.
That's it. Like we don't need to add labels of like the labels that are steeped in, fear and fame and success.
Right.
Like there doesn't have to be like these metrics of it. We can just we're all learning to just be for the sake of being.
100%.
That's it.
100%. You're continuing to make content. You're still creating. You've evolved so much, and you have such incredible content, man. It's awesome.
Thank you, buddy.
Of course. Thank you. When you're making content, what's your strategy when a piece of content doesn't perform how you may have hoped it would?
So for me, I realize like even right now, like my skit content sometimes doesn't perform too well. Like I just posted something and it was barely cracking like an X amount of views that I really wanted. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh my God, what's wrong? Right. At some point you can blame the algorithm. Okay.
Yeah.
You can blame things all you want, play victim. Like, oh, it's the post time, it's this and that. And sure, these things play a role. But at the end of the day, if you really think about it, it just means making stronger content.
Right.
Because content is nothing but science. I truly believe this. It's human psychology. And the best creators will tell you this. There's a science behind creativity. It is science. There's certain frequencies that flow within the way you speak, the way you position lights, the way you frame things. Everything holds a certain vibration that can be subconsciously picked up by a viewer.
Right.
Every detail matters, right? That's why films are like as expensive as they are, because there's so many minute details that the average user, the average audience, look at me, I'm like tech bro now, average user. Like I've been around so many tech bros, it's crazy. Anyway, but the average audience, like they're not picking up on these things, but art directors, production designers, like these guys are all looking at certain things that are subconsciously going to make you, think like, okay, hey, you're more invested. That's a science.
Right.
Like down to color, down to sound, down to projection of voice, everything.
Mhm.
It's all how are you projecting your frequency,
Right.
because that is going to be picked up on a physiological and psychological level by the other person. And you need to understand how people absorb media, content, and what their behaviors are. And if
Mhm.
you don't understand human psychology and people's behaviors and patterns,
Mhm.
then you're just like posting for the sake of posting. And great, if that's your intention, like just to post for the sake of posting. But if you have the desire for an outcome, which is okay, I'm not demonizing like you shouldn't have outcomes and whatnot, like dreams, goals, like all that, like chase all those things, make the bag, like get the followers, get the fame. Is it's just don't be attached to that being as fulfillment. Do it for the sake of doing it, but knowing that there's more to life than just that.
Of course.
Okay. So, but point is, if you understand that, hey, I want this goal, I want to build 1 million followers, there's a strategy behind that.
Yeah.
And you have to understand like your own strengths and skill sets to be able to achieve that, right?
Mhm.
Or you outsource that to people who do understand
Yeah.
those said skill sets. You may not be a strong, I don't know, editor, but you show up great on camera, like you have a lot
Yeah.
of great energy, this and that. Like use that to your strength and then find someone who understands editing like phenomenally well and understands like the psychology of editing, you know, when to let certain things breathe, how, much music, what's there, all the different tonalities, all that, right? Or just learn, forever be a student. There's so
Mhm.
much more to learn and be okay with learning more because, I mean, that's far more valuable than, the outcome anyway. Like, that's a
Yeah.
skill. Just keep learning. Like, don't be left behind.
Right.
We all getting left behind anyway.
Right.
AI is going crazy.
I know. Let's not even get there.
I know.
Ted-
I love it though. I honestly love AI. Huge. Maybe I'm like just in the Bay Area, so I just see so much of the beautiful potential of it. It's fucking amazing.
Really?
I love AI.
You're not scared about AI at all taking over
Why be
creators'
scared?
works, or
Why be scared?
I don't know. Do you think people
Humans are adaptable.
But do you see like that new like outpouring of like UGC AI creators and things?
Okay, we just adapt, become a stronger creator.
I love it.
The world is gonna change regardless. Just
Yeah.
become stronger.
Yeah. Right.
You're still you. Like that's not really gonna change. And it's
Right.
like humans are gonna want humans at the end of the day.
Yeah. I do agree with that statement.
Like there's some things in this world that from the dawn of time to now that stay consistent in human nature.
Right.
Need for love, need for connection, need for, community. Like
You're right.
these things don't change. Like they are the fabric of reality. Like it's like the laws of, physics.
Mm-hmm.
Some things just like those things just don't change. You know what I mean? Sure. Like until like they're disproven, like people can go on like a philosophical like banter and be like, oh, well, until it doesn't happen X, Y, Z. But truly, like there are innate parts of being human that are just fundamental to, us being able to adapt and evolve. And that's at who you are at your core. We're resilient people,
Yeah, we are.
And honestly, like people are always scared of everything. It's like, but
anything
it's like
anything new that exists.
anything new, but it's like,
Yeah.
dude, it's a tool. Like it's actually like right now you have zero excuses. You have zero excuses.
True.
You
have zero excuses.
Fact.
Don't fuck this up.
Please don't fuck this up. Like you are in the best era of time. People are like, oh, we're in the worst era. I wish I was born in I was born in the wrong generation. I'm like, nah, you are born in the right generation.
Facts.
Like you are so privileged to be alive right now. It's literally ridiculous.
Facts.
I truly believe that, we are in a really great time where we can, just be able to adapt, learn, and take action. Like you can take action on anything,
Beautiful. Where does Sooraj see himself in 5 years?
Man, I can always have a vision of who I see myself as and what I'll be doing. But I've learned that I can have the feeling of, in my mind's eye, of who I want to become and where I'll be. The vehicle that will get me there may change, right? In 5 years, I still see myself being creative. Maybe it's my own TV show. Maybe it's my own feature film. Maybe I'm married. Maybe I have a child. Maybe I'm taking care of my parents. Maybe I'm serving humanity in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm, an executive at a top company. I don't know. And I'm okay with not knowing because it's not for me to know. I let her divine will guide me wherever she pleases. And I know that it's meant for me as it's supposed to be. And again, for me, never against me. So in 5 years, I don't know, I'm going to still just I still want to keep helping people. Like I know I want to keep helping people and having fun. Like that's life, How can I serve and have fun?
Facts.
Like that's as much as you need to know. As long as you're still doing those things, how it looks, where it is, what location is, like be so unattached to those things.
Right.
Because like you get disappointed if you're like, okay, in 5 years, I'm going to be here and have this and this. You know how many people have done that? And they're so wildly disappointed because I thought I was going to be married at 31 or 29.
They set these
27.
expectations and
and then like you get to that and you're like mad. Like that's not a good feeling to be in.
Yeah. You don't want to be mad. You don't want to be resentful. You want to just embrace what.
Go with the flow.
My friend has a saying. He's like a guru, like a yogi, and he says he has this quote that's he says everything is always working out for you.
It's always for you, huh?
Yeah, always for you.
And it's like it's great when you are able to do that. It's like you're able to like not feel like you need to be in control. You just give up your worries. And when you're able to give up your worries, like we're able to just be more in the present moment. Oh, this is a better answer. In 5 years, I want to be feeling as present as I feel right now in this moment with you.
I love that. I
think that's what
I want to be present in 5 years too.
Yeah.
I swear to God, man.
Yes.
Always thinking about the future or the past.
Yeah.
Fuck all that.
I want to be as present as I am with you right now. Yeah.
Dude, you're awesome, man.
Oh, bye.
Okay, we got one more thing.
Please.
You ready for this?
Absolutely.
The vibes are about to change.
Yes. Oh my God, this is sick.
It's a new vibe. So, Sooraj, got a deck of cards here, okay?
Okay.
In this deck of cards, there's 50 questions. All I want you to do, I just want you to use, whether you want to shuffle it, pick the card on top, whatever intuitively feels right to you, pick one card, read the question, and answer from the bottom of your heart. That's it. Can you do that?
I can do that.
Let's do it, man.
You said just one, right?
Okay. Just one.
So the one that fell out would be the one that
I love it.
What's the most profound piece of advice you've ever given to someone else? Damn.
This is a good one for you.
Whoa. What's the most profound piece of advice?
The problem is you've given a lot of profound advice. Like you go on your page, every fucking video you're giving.
I've made like 4,000 videos and every single piece of content is like life-changing advice that's helped millions of people. So like this is hard. I don't even remember half the shit I've written over the past 5 years. It's ridiculous.
Just pick one. It doesn't have to be the most, but one maybe more recent.
I think this one just stands the test of time. And we kind of talked about this, but I think I just want to drive this home. Immerse yourself so deep in the process of something that you love without any expectations of results. Just trust. The reason I say that is because once you do immerse into something that you love, you're able to dissolve anxiety, dissolve a lot of forms of depression. You stop numbing yourself through forms of stimulants, food, right? Content, people, right? You start tapping into the thing that you actually love, right? Your core essence of who you are. Once you do that, the present moment unlocks to you. And that's where a lot of magic is born or is tapped into, or rather unraveled. And because you're tapping into that, this idea of expectations dissolves with it, because now you're just at your most purest form, which is this love within you. And now you don't care if it's, what this present moment is going to turn into or who you're going to be with. And is there something better? FOMO, XYZ, is anything better than this moment? And when you do that so deeply, you will find, in the absence of all these distractions, in the absence of all these highs and lows, that a lot of the answers you're looking for are right there. But in that moment of doing the thing that you love so deeply, without any expectations of results, you start to become a vessel for these epiphanies and realizations, and all these things that you're so confused and anxious about, they all start coming to you. And I think a lot of us are wanting to find answers and tap into this what do I do? What do I do? Like, who should I become? But it's in doing the things that you love and you're in this flow state, you're able to be that vessel for divine knowledge, vidya, to come to you and channel into you. And you know, if you do the thing that you love enough, you'll start to trust that that is the answer and trust that that will show you the path or whatever answer and direction you're looking for, whatever next step and turn to take, that you trust that that will be revealed to you, right? And you're probably, I don't know what I love. A lot of people say that. I don't know what I love to do. I don't know like what passion I should start or like how I should be in the present moment, right? That's a thinking game. They're trying to think about what it is that they love. But that's the mind. What you love is in the heart. Mind and heart are always separated, but you're trying to put them in, they're divorced from each other. But the goal is to make that channel very, very clear. So when you immerse in the thing that you love, you have to start letting go of all the things that, you're doing for performance. You're doing things that you think are going to make you feel loved, but you have to start doing things that remind you of love, make you feel more like love, And I don't know how everyone can get there on their own. I'm not going to give that piece of advice because everyone can tap into the frequency of love in their own way. But I know that if you do, it sounds so like, hippy dippy, but truly like when you do surrender to love, it's magical, man.
Yeah.
It's truly magical.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And love is not something that's outside of you. People are like, okay, well, that means I should go hang out with the girl that I'm dating more, or I should go hang out with my parents more. No. Often the thing that you love is dissolved by things that are outside of you that you think will harness that. You'll know.
Yeah.
You'll know. It's not something you can explain because true love, deep unconditional love, is beyond words.
Beyond words.
And once you do find that love, that embodiment of love, strongest next piece of advice that goes along with that is see that in all things and in all beings. Like see it everywhere. See that version of you, that love, everywhere. That divine love in everything, because that is what will truly heal your world and change your perception and frequency of how you view reality. And that's what we all want. You're far more powerful than you think.
Yeah.
You're very powerful. You just have to trust yourself enough to know that.
Trust yourself, love yourself. It's all from within, man.
As I always say, love yourself. Take care.
Sooraj, thank you for being here, bro. It's an honor. It's a pleasure. You are a true vessel of wisdom. You have so much. I mean, it's such a young age. You have such a deep understanding of yourself and the world. And I'm happy you're making content. I'm happy the world gets to witness your existence. So thank you, man.
Arad, I'm truly grateful that, God was able to bring us together in this lifetime out of the billions of other possibilities that could have happened. And it was all for a divine purpose. And I'm just truly blessed to be in a presence of someone who is, one, able to hold space for conversations like this, but also use your platform to empower and serve humanity in the ways that you feel confident doing, in the ways that you feel fulfilled doing. And it's rare because when I watch your stuff, when people are watching your stuff, they're subconsciously getting permission that they can do the same because of you. And,
thank you, bro.
And it's truly a blessing to see this and be next to you and share this energy in this present moment together, because this is what it's all about. Like, that trend? That's the whole point.
Yeah. Dude, you're amazing. Thank you. Thanks, brother. Thanks for being here. Thanks, everyone, for watching. If you all want to help us out, we're trying to build up the show, build up the channel. If you want more amazing guests like Sooraj himself, y'all know what to do. Subscribe, please. Help us out.
Take care, everybody. Thank you so much.
Get us on all platforms. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple. Rate the show. Give us a 5 stars. What else do they need to do, Sooraj?
Take the part that resonates the most and then share that with the people that you know who need to hear it the most. Because sometimes this might not be for you, but you know someone who really, really needs that suggestion onto themselves. Remember, you are both the teacher and the student upon yourself and for others. Just be that channel of good in the world. Just like Arad is here.
Thank y'all for watching. Thanks y'all for listening. Thank you, Sooraj, again.
Thank you,
And
bye.
most importantly, can you help me give a big round of applause to ourselves? To ourselves, baby.
Yes.
To ourselves.
To ourselves. Absolutely. Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers, brother.